office of the Always Believe House. Today we're gonna combine polynomials. Ho 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 ho. Today is probably going to be one of the easiest lessons of this 6 weeks. So this should be a piece of cake. Let me get this started. Okay, and we are rocking and rolling, and a magical whiteboard appears, and we are doing polynomials. To do this, let's turn this paper over on the back. I'm going to give you a little bit of notes first. When you combine polynomials, okay, write this down. You're going to put them in this order, okay? So your largest exponent goes first, the smallest exponent goes last. These numbers right here are called coefficients. The constant goes last. The constant is a number without a letter, and this number is also called the leading coefficient. Now then in the TEK it says to add polynomials of power 2 or less. That means you're going to add exponents of 2. Okay? The exponents do not change when you add and subtract. So the exponents do not change when you add and subtract. Okay, so when you add and subtract, you leave the exponents alone. All we're doing is grouping the coefficients up. This is going to be a piece of cake. So let's go up to number 1. Going to go through and do this with you. The first thing you want to do on this problem is write everything without parentheses. So we're going to rewrite the problem and get rid of all the parentheses. So on this problem here, notice I have a minus here. I'm going to bluebell chart that minus, or distribute the minus. So I'm going to have b minus 8b squared. A negative times a positive is a negative. 5b squared. Sign, number, letter, exponent. We're still doing that. A negative times a negative is a positive. My number's 2, my letter's B. So now that I have this problem written down with no parentheses, right? Also remember, if you want, if a number doesn't have a coefficient, there's a 1 there, right? Now then, I'm going to write this from the largest exponent to the smallest exponent. So single underline the B squares and double underline your B's. So the single underlines go first, the double underlines go second. Look at your single underlines. You have a negative 8 and a negative 5. If you're going to do this on a calculator, that's what you would punch in. You are not going to punch in the letters and exponents. The calculator will not calculate this. It will only calculate the coefficients. So negative 8 minus 5 is going to be a negative 13, right? You got more 8s than 5s. The sign in front of the 8 is the negative. You're going to add them up because the sign is the same, 13. The letter's B, the exponent's 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. Then look at the B's. You have a 1 and a 2, right? You got more 2's. The sign is going to be plus, right? You're going to add 1 and 2 because the signs are the same. And your letter is B. Sign, number, letter. This right here would be my answer. All I did is combine 8 and 5 and 1 and 2. This is not a hard lesson. You do not change the exponents. You do not change the exponents. Let's go to number 3. So on number 3, notice there's a plus here, right? Okay, that plus will not change any of the signs. So write down the problem without any parentheses. Okay, now then I'm going to single underline my largest exponents and double underline I'm going to go down from the largest exponent to the smallest. So on this one here, I'm going to group the 5 and the plus 7, right? I got more 7s than 5s, so the plus drops. 5 and 7 have the same sign. I'm going to add them up and get 12. My letter is N. My exponent's 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. And you don't start the answer off with a plus, do you? Now then, go to the next one. I got my 5s and 2s, right? So I have more 5s than 2s, so the plus is going to drop. The 5 is positive, the 2 is negative. I won't add, will I? 2 away from 5 is 3, and my letter is N. This is 6th grade integer math. And you're just writing down your number or your letter and your exponent. What you are doing as sign and number is what you learned in 6th grade. You're not changing anything, except you should have been taught the way I'm teaching you. Okay, let's go to number 7. Okay, on number 7, there's a plus right here. Nothing will change. So 3 plus 8k plus 3k plus 5. Single underline the k's, double underline the constants, and you're just going to put this in order. Now then I'm going to group 8 and 3. 8 plus 3 is 11. My letter is k. And then I'm going to group 5 and 3. 5's bigger, so the sign's going to be positive. 3 plus 5 is 8. This is my answer. 11k plus 8. Ho, 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 ho. Now then, let's go to number 9. Number 9 has 3 terms, so we're going to get 3 things in our answer. Remember, this negative will distribute, so we're going to write down the problem with no parentheses. 6n squared minus 6n minus 6. A negative times a positive is a negative. The number's 5. Letter n, exponent 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. A negative times a positive is a negative. My number's 4. My letter's n. And then a negative times a negative is a plus. And then my number's 8. Ho, 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 ho. Now then I'm going to single underline the n squares, double underline the n's, and triple underline the constants. I think the most we'll give you is 3. Okay, you could have a quadruple or even a quintuple underline. Now then, group up. We're going to go to the single underlines, the double underlines, the triple underlines. You are not doing this left to right, are you? You're getting your single underlines, grouping them. Getting your double underlines, grouping them. So you don't do this left to right like you did in 6th grade. Now then, you have 6 and 5. You got more 6's than 5, so the sign's positive. You got 6 is positive, 5 is negative, so 5 away from 6 is 1, so plus 1 n squared, and you don't put the plus 1, do you? So our single underlines are just going to turn into the n squared. Now then, let's do the doubles. We got negative 6 and negative 4, right? I'm looking right here and right here. I got more 6's than I do 4's, so this sign will drop. And then look at the signs. They're the same, aren't they? So I got 6 negatives and 4 negatives. I got 10 negatives, and my letter's n. Sign, number, letter. Get the sign, get the number, get the letter. And lastly, I'm going to group the 6 and the 8, right? So the 6 and the 8, I got more 8's than I do 6's, so the sign is going to be plus. Notice I'm looking at which one I have more of and dropping that sign. Get the sign first. Now then figure out if you add or subtract. The 6 is negative, the 8's positive, I'm going to subtract, aren't I? When you subtract, you take the small away from the big. You may not go left to right. So I'm taking 6 away from 8, and that's going to be 2. This is the answer. Ho, 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 ho. Just like eating an Oreo cookie. Ho, ho, ho. Let's keep going. Turn the page. Or turn the page. Or let's do one more. Let's do 15. We'll do 15, then we'll turn the page. Okay, so on 15, okay, I'm going to write this down without any parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the negative. 1 minus 8n squared plus 4n. A negative times a positive is a negative. My number's 5. A negative times a positive is a negative. My number's 5. My letter's n. A negative times a negative is a positive. My number's 4. My letter is n, and my exponent's 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. Now they go through single underline the, let me get it in black, single underline the n squares, double underline the n's, triple underline the constants. Ho, 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 ho. Now then we're going to go single, then double, then triple. Okay, so my single underlines are 8 and 4, right? I have more 8's than I do 4's, so the negative drops. 8 is negative, 4 is positive. I'm going to take 4 away from 8 and get 4. My letter is n, my exponent's 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. Go to the double underlines. The double underlines are 4 and negative 5, right? So which one do you have more of? You got more 5's than you do 4's, right? So the negative drops. Okay, now then 4 is positive, 5 is negative. They're not the same. 4 away from 5 is 1. And my letter's n, sign, number, letter. I don't put the 1 though, do I? It's understood to be 1. And then lastly, we're going to group our constants, which are 1 and the negative 5. I got more 5's than 1's, so this negative drops. Notice you pick the one you got more of and drop that sign. That's how you get the sign. Now then, 1's positive, 5 is negative. They're not the same. I'm going to take 1 away from 5 and get 4. This is the answer. Ho, 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 ho. That is so much fun. Let's turn the page, and this is where it gets really fun. This is like mega stuffed Oreos. Ho, 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 ho. So let's get rock and rolling. I'm only going to do probably 2 of these on the back, and then that's it. Probably just 1, and let you have fun. I don't want to take all the fun away from you. So let's do 17 because there's 2 negatives. Okay? So on 17, I'm going to distribute the negative here, and I'm going to distribute this negative. I'm going to write the whole problem down without any parentheses. So 3r plus 4r squared plus 2. A negative times a positive is a negative. My number is 8. R squared. Sign, number, letter, exponent. A negative times a negative is a positive. My number is 6. My letters are. A negative times a negative is a positive. My number is 7. A negative times a positive is a negative. My number is 3. My letters are. My exponent's 2. Sign, number, letter, exponent. A negative times a positive is a negative. My number is 4. My letters are. A negative times a negative is a positive, and my number is 8. Now then, I'm going to go through single underline, double underline, triple underline. So I'm going to single underline the r squares, double underline the r's, and triple underline the constants. Now this one I got to group 3 of them. So we may want to write down the ones we're grouping. So let's group our r squares. I'm going to write it real small over here. I got a plus 4, and then I got a plus 6, and then I got a minus 3. Okay, if you were in kindergarten, you would add up all the positives and all the negatives, then you would subtract. So if I do that, I have plus 9 and minus 3 on it. So I have, plus 10. 4 plus 6 is 10. Jiminy crickets. So I have plus 10 minus 3. 10 minus 3 is 7, right? My letters are, my exponent's 2. Now that I'm going to go to the next step. Can y'all see how I wrote this over here? That helps you organize it. Now then, let's go to our double underlines. Our double underlines are 3, and then a plus 6, and then a minus 4. So I'm going to do 3 plus 6 minus 4. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 minus 4 is a positive 5. I got to put the plus, don't I? So I got a plus, a 5, and my letters are. Now that I'm going to group the constants. So my constants are plus 2, plus 7, and plus 8. Notice they're all positives. I'm going to add all these up, aren't I? So 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. This is my answer. Ho, 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 ho. All you are doing is adding and subtracting one-digit numbers. Try to do this last page the way I did it there, where you're writing down your integers. What if it came out to be 0? Then that would terminate. You wouldn't have it. It would Control-Delete, and you would not put that letter into the answer. You may only have 2 terms. That might happen on some of these. Remember, the key is posted in the module. So go to today's date in the module. Make sure you're reading through it. Do what you're supposed to do. Make sure your answers match up. This section right here, what we're about to do, we're adding today. We're going to multiply, and then we're going to factor. This is going to be a very hard unit. So make sure you take control of this. Make sure you're doing the work when you're supposed to. Don't get behind. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things, and you are awesome.